They were the perfect pair. He, the enigmatic young director, she, the young German chanteuse. Together, they would make film history. Today on the Nitrate Freak, we're going to look at Morocco, the first American film that Dietrich and von Sternberg would make, and really the beginning of the Marlene Dietrich legend. Josef von Sternberg discovered Marlene Dietrich, or so the story goes. Though, did a talent like Marlene Dietrich need to really be discovered? Now, the legend is that he plucked her out of obscurity in Weimar, Germany, and placed her right in the center of his film The Blue Angel. And while this is partly true, it is actually not the entire story. Marlene had been a very active and working actress, both on film and on stage in Weimar, Germany throughout the 1920s. Some of those films actually still remain and sort of refute that logic that The Blue Angel was her first film. The Blue Angel started its life as an Emil Jannings feature. Von Sternberg and Jannings had worked together 2 years previous on Paramount's The Last Command, which is an amazing film, one of Jannings' greatest and few surviving American features. It was Jannings' first sound film, and though von Sternberg and Jannings had not really hit it off during the making of The Last Command, Jannings insisted that von Sternberg be the director of his talkie debut. Now, The Blue Angel was made through a partnership between Paramount Pictures and UFA. UFA was Germany's largest film studio at the time. And von Sternberg, being a German-American director, seemed like the perfect fit to helm this new picture. He had many leading lady choices given to him, none of which fit the mold that he had in his mind. It wasn't until he was recommended to see the young Marlene Dietrich, then performing in a play called Zwei Kravaten, or Two Neckties, that he realized that he had found his Lola Lola. Little did he know that he had found his creative partner for the next 5 years. Now, The Blue Angel is an adaptation of Heinrich Mann's novel Professor Unrat, in which a well-respected university professor goes slowly mad over his obsession with the performer Lola Lola. Marlene Dietrich's performance as Lola Lola was a revelation to the German audiences, and is still a revelation today. I think the most important thing about it is it's the last glimpse of her before Hollywood. This is Marlene as you would have seen her in Germany at the height of her Weimar fame, before the glamour would change her in many ways. She's slightly pudgier, her hair is darker, her clothes are that of the German expressionist stage, and her performance is astounding. It's no wonder that the execs at Paramount were very quick to snap her up and partner her with von Sternberg, who was really their golden boy at the time. Von Sternberg's last several silent films were all very successful and have all come down through the ages as highly respected works. Underworld, The Last Command, and The Docks of New York were all packaged by Criterion many years ago and remain incredible works of silent film. He had done one sound feature, Thunderbolt, before going to Germany to create the Blue Angel. But the Blue Angel kind of remains a mark in the sand, if you will. There is von Sternberg before the Blue Angel, and then there is von Sternberg after the Blue Angel, with Marlene Dietrich in tow. Von Sternberg would take total control of his new protege, controlling her look, controlling her accent and her speech, acting almost as though he were her Svengali, her manager, and her life partner, as well as her creative partner. Gary Giddens, in his essay, The Devil is in the Details, says, Von Sternberg cleaned up her accent and molded her face with light. Deleting the body fat, he focused the picture around her, despite her second billing. This is in regards to her performance in Morocco, in which she would become transformed into the movie star Marlene Dietrich that she would be for the rest of her life. Morocco tells the story of a down-on-her-luck cabaret performer traveling to her last resort in Morocco. There she stumbles into a love triangle between a rich man of the world, played by Adolphe Menjou, in a walkthrough role done with his acknowledged suavite, which is how Variety described his performance back when this film was released. The third corner of this love triangle is performed by Gary Cooper in one of his better early roles as a Foreign Legion soldier who's just looking to have a good time and not expecting to fall in love with the down-on-her-luck Amy Jolly. But after Marlene Dietrich performs her legendary performance at the beginning of Morocco, in which she sings and skulks around the very evocatively dressed bar that she's singing in, dressed in a full set of coattails, like a man, including a top hat, and smoking. Towards the end of this performance, she even kisses a woman on the lips, causing this woman to shriek from embarrassment and then giggle with joy. Here we see the beginning of Marlene Dietrich's androgynous, sexless sexiness. She straddles the line between male and female in a way that no one in American film had done before her, in a way that her biggest contemporary rival, Greta Garbo, could barely fathom. She assumes other masculine privileges: easy confidence, sexual authority, and emotional unavailability. This is what Imogene Sarah Smith says in her essay about the film and the other films of von Sternberg and Dietrich, Mistress of Ceremonies. This would become one of the defining features of Marlene Dietrich, an androgynous sexiness that is not overtly sexy, but is very, very sexy. Both Adolphe Menjou and Gary Cooper fall head over heels for Amy Jolly. And towards the end of the film, when she finally chooses the obvious choice, Gary Cooper, and runs off into the desert, leaving her high heels behind, the audience can't blame her. Gary Cooper looks like $1,000,000, and one hopes that they would live happily ever after in the desert, though one believes that that's probably not the case. During the making of the film, Gary Cooper would be virtually ignored by Josef von Sternberg, as he spent all of his time molding his new star and crafting the film around her. Felicia Feaster of TCM says originally the film was to be titled Amy Jolly, the Woman of Marrakesh, but Cooper, again fearing that too much of the picture's focus was being placed on Dietrich, pressured the studio to change the title to Morocco. And thank God they did. Amy Jolly, the Woman of Marrakesh, is a horrible title compared to the sleek and elegant Morocco. Of course, Dietrich and Cooper would have a brief affair during the making of the film, as one does when you're young and beautiful and in Hollywood in the early 1930s. Later in life, Dietrich would say of Cooper that he was neither intelligent nor cultured. Just like the other actors, he was chosen for his physique, which, after all, was more important than an active brain. Morocco was released to great fanfare and great success in 1930. It got mostly positive reviews, though Variety said, Morocco is too lightweight to be counterbalanced by the big-time direction given it. Marlene Dietrich has little opportunities in her first talker. There's nothing to the picture except what Josef von Sternberg gives it in direction, and that giving it more than it's got. Rather harsh, although I do kind of agree that despite the visual elegance of the film, the plot leaves a little bit to be desired. It is your standard love triangle film of the early 30s. That being said, both von Sternberg and Dietrich would be nominated for Academy Awards that year for their work on the film. In the end, I think Morocco is a fabulous feature. It's not the best of the Dietrich and von Sternberg collaborations, but being the first, it is special. It's full of von Sternberg's signature visual style, with long takes filled with lateral movement, mixed with static shots of motion heading to and from the camera. I think Morocco really does break the conventions of early sound films by taking it into the world very convincingly and giving us a visual style matching the height of silent cinema a few years previous. Because of this, the pedestrian plot doesn't really matter. You are watching a beautiful film about the birth of one of the greatest movie stars of all time. It would become kind of the blueprint of their future collaborations, not all of which would be as good as Morocco, though a few, Shanghai Express and The Scarlet Empress, would far exceed Morocco in every way. All of the von Sternberg and Dietrich films have been restored. Morocco was part of the von Sternberg and Dietrich box set that was released by Criterion several years ago. It looks great, it sounds great, and if you get it in the month of July, you can get it for half off with Criterion and Barnes & Noble's half-off sale, which those of us who still do physical media love and adore. Until next time,